morning children. Today we will start with biology topic. So I am going to teach you the lesson human health and diseases, which is the 8th lesson. I am going to teach you the human health and diseases. Already I taught you the post-fertilization changes, the double fertilization and the post-fertilization changes, isn't it? Embryo development of developmental stages of embryo, how the seeds are getting developed, what are apomixis and what is meant by polyembryony, so all those things. The very next lesson what you have is genetics. Genetics will be judged by yourself, and now I am going to teach you the 8th lesson, that is human health and diseases. It's a very easiest lesson, and you have to understand. That will be more than enough. If you understand, then you can write off your board. And you must know about the names of the positive agents and how this infection is getting transmitted by this positive organism. So the disease will be getting caused by an organism, and the mode of transmission we are calling how the disease getting spread, how it is getting endemic, epidemic, and then how it becomes pandemic. Nowadays this COVID-19 has become pandemic, and what is the reason for the pandemic? What is the mode of transmission? What are the clinical manifestations or otherwise symptoms of a particular infection caused by the microorganisms? So all those things we are going to see in this chapter. So first we have to study about what is the human health, and then what are the various diseases that is being caused to the human being, isn't it? What are the various diseases that is being caused to the human being? And the third thing which we have to study here is adolescency. What is meant by adolescency? Adolescency due to the puberty, adolescent stage is getting attained, and due to the adolescency there will be some sorts of the fluctuation in the mind, the wavering thoughts will be there in the mind, which leads to the addiction towards the drugs and other addictions too, alcoholic addictions and all other addictions which has to be eradicated in our nation. Then we have to study about immunity. What is meant by immunity? What are the different acquired immunity? What is meant by acquired immunity and what is meant by passive immunity? How the immunity is getting acquired from the birth, which is called as innate immunity, and what are all the various barriers in our body which naturally acting against the disease causing microorganisms as an immunity barrier. So that we have to study what is meant by immunization and what is a vaccination, and all those things we have to study in this chapter. Okay, it's a very easiest chapter, and the thing is it's a very lengthy, but we have to understand certain technical terms under the causative organisms, then it will be very easy. Okay, now, so what all the things that we have to study in this chapter, let me write here. What is meant by health? Then what is meant by diseases? And what are the different types? What are the different types of diseases? Then we have to study about the immunity and its types. The immunity and its types. The last one, adolescent stage, that is the addiction and non-addiction and all those things we have to study in this chapter. Okay, so now we will start with what is meant by health. We will start with the definition for health. What is meant by health? What is called as health? We can write off our own, we can write lots of history, geography in case of health. First point I am telling is a disease-free condition. It is a disease-free condition. Health is a disease-free condition. Okay, and this health will take, I can define it as a combined capacity or accumulation, whatsoever you can call, combined capacity of physical, mental, third one, and social well-being and social well-being. So when all these three are in a right proportion or in the balanced state, a combined capacity and balanced state, then we can say the particular individual is tends to be healthy. The particular individual tends to be healthy, isn't it? What is physical well-being? Physical well-being, say for example, if a person has got an individual has got a fever. Okay, so a prolonged fever, a persistent fever, prolonged fever, or otherwise I call it as a persistent fever. Obviously, it leads to what? It leads to contagious. It leads to a state of depression. The mood swing, we are calling it depression. Leads to what? Depression, or otherwise I call it as mood swing. What happens here? The mood will get fluctuates, or otherwise there will be a mood swing. So it results in depression, or otherwise it leads to a state of stress, mental stress, isn't it? Because continuous fever is there. So physically also will be ruined, and mentally and psychologically also will be under a state of depression. I don't know, I cannot go outside, I cannot eat a normal food, I am taking only bread, and I am taking only some medicines, and what is this? My status like this, and all others how they are staying healthy. Like that, there will be lots of varying thoughts, etc. So this leads to mentally perturbed condition. So confused state, hallucination state, sometimes illusion also will occur. So all these things we are calling it as a mental well-being. Okay, there will not be a proper mental health, or mental well-being will be getting affected. When the mental health and physical health is getting affected, and obviously the social status, the social well-being of the individual will be getting affected, will be completely ruined, deteriorated. That is called as deterioration. It will be getting completely deteriorated. So deteriorated means what? It will be completely declined, it will be getting destroyed. Social well-being means what? So talking with others, or combining with other individuals in a community, in a society, going together. So continuous people, if you have all of us, will have a thought that whether they will be whether he is a normal or not, otherwise it is a contagious, it gets spreads or what, it may be communicable, it may be infectious. So if I am going to sit with him, if I am going to use his cloth, if I am going to sit and eat. So lots of criteria are there now. So that social well-being, the social health, the social intelligence will be getting deteriorated completely. So when physical, mental and social well-being are getting affected, obviously the person will not have sound health. Obviously the individual or a person will not have sound health. The sound health will be getting affected. We are getting the sound health will be getting affected. Okay. So these three are called as, these three are very important for what? So important for the good health. Next one, what we are calling is the longevity of the life is very important. Longevity of life. So when a person is having a good health, so he will be having a good lifespan, healthy lifespan. The longevity of the life will be very high. The longevity we are telling, no, the lifespan we are telling. So longevity of the life, our physical, mental, social well-being is good. If we are under a balanced state and the longevity of the life is also very high, then the individual will be very efficient in the work. Efficient in work. When he is efficient in the work, obviously there will be increased production. When there is an increased production, then the economic growth will be there. When there is an increased economic growth, the nation development, nation will be developed. So developed country we are doing. So when the longevity of life is there, the balanced capacity is there, then it results in decreased infant and mortality rate. Decreased infant and mortality rate. And these are called as health condition. These we are calling it as what? Good health condition. What are all the things? So first point, what is meant by health condition? What are the points will be writing? Disease-free condition. Health is nothing but what? It is a disease-free condition. Second point is the combined capacity of physical, mental and social well-being. Example, I have started with fever. That's it. Okay, various other infections, dreadful infections are also there. So that and all you imagine situated. The person will be getting in a zero state. Okay, then the longevity of the life will be very high if the person is having good health. And somewhere or otherwise, if the health is getting affected or disrupted, then what will happen? The longevity of the life will get decreased. Then, when the longevity is there, then there is a balanced state in physical, mental, and social. Then there will be efficiency in the work. When there is an efficiency in the work, it results in increased production. When there is an increase in production, the economic growth will also get increased. When the economic growth gets increased, it directly influences the prosperity or the growth of the nation. So the nation will be under a state of what? Developed condition. It will be under a state of developed condition. Then this health condition will also result in decrease in infant and the mortality rate. So infant death and the mortality rate. So if we are going to say that a particular nation is progressing in the medical aspect, so the medically the particular country has achieved the progress. So the medical well-being of the nation is very sound. How we can detect? We can detect based on the infant and the mortality rate by taking the statistical data of infant and the mortality rate. If there is no infant and the mortality rate to that extent, to the ratio of the population of a country, they can predict the country has attained a state of medical well-being. Medically, the country has attained a state of prosperity. So we can stay healthy, we can be disease-free, we can remain in a state of peaceful health inside a particular country, when there is a decrease in infant and the mortality rate. So such a way there is a progress in medicine, in vaccination, in immunization, in giving drugs, in treating, in diagnostic procedures, in controlling the symptoms and clinical manifestations and all, it will be very, very high. So diagnosis there, treatment there, identification and decreasing the symptoms or controlling the symptoms and controlling the spread, mode of transmission. So social transmission, physical transmission, contact mode, there may be a transmission. So all those things can be completely eradicated. Then we can say there is a decreased infant and the mortality rate. So that the nation is under a state of medically attained prosperity, in the aspect of the domain of medical, in the domain of medicine, or medically attained a state of prosperity. Understood? So this is about the health. Now coming to the disease. Now we'll start with disease. So what is meant by a disease? We will see now. So we have disease. So disease condition, disease we are telling, isn't it? So disease, that is any condition that affects physical, anatomical, or the functional, that is physiological, is functional, isn't it? Physiological, or otherwise we can call it as a functional, physiological, or otherwise the functional aspect of the body, then we call it as a disease. Any condition that affects the physical, anatomical and physiological or a functional aspects of the body, we are calling it as a disease. So either physically the person will be getting affected, or anatomically the person will be getting affected, and physiologically the person will be getting affected. Say for example, we'll take one example now. A person met with an accident. Say for example, accident. There is a fracture. There occurred a fracture in the hand or otherwise in the leg. So what will happen? bone deformities, even after taking plaster of Paris, even after knee displacement, bone displacement, whatsoever has taken out very much advanced state, isn't it? Even then, the body or a particular region will be, the bone will be getting deformed. So, bone deformation occurs. There is a state of deformation, bone deformation. So, when there is a bone deformation, physically also the person will not be staying healthy, and anatomically also the person will not tend to be healthy. What is anatomy? The internal organ. The anatomy is a branch of biology. It's a medical biology that deals with the study of internal organs of the body. But physically is getting affected. So anatomically also he has got affected. So bone deformation has occurred. So various other lots of examples we can give for physical, anatomical and physiological as a functional aspect of the body. Again, if there is a bone deformation, if the hand cannot be moved, then what will happen? The physiology, the function of the hand will be getting ultimately ruined, will be getting affected, isn't it? So then we are calling it as a disease. Then we are calling it as what? Disease. There are various different agents that causes the disease. Various agents that causes the disease. First and the foremost agent of the disease is the biological agents. Second one is the nutritional agents. Nutritional agents. Third one is chemical agents. Fourth one is physical agents. Fifth one is mechanical agents. Sixth one is genetic agents. Genetic agents. So these are the various aspects of the disease. Various aspects that governs the disease. What are the various aspects that governs the disease? The biological agents, nutritional agents, chemical agents, physical agents, mechanical agents, and another one is called as what? Genetic agents. So the first one what we have is biological agents. So there are various pathogenic microorganisms that causes the disease. Pathogenic microorganisms. So biological agents are due to pathogenic microorganisms like bacteria, which we are going to study. Bacteria causes the disease. Bacteria causes disease. Mycobacterium tuberculate, which causes TB. Mycobacterium leprae causes leprosy. So these are the organisms. There are lots of microorganisms, bacterial organisms that causes the infection to the body. Infectious diseases we are calling. Then viruses. Viruses also causes lots of disease. See, when you take this virus, it is highly difficult to get a medicine for a virus. Why? Because the virus, when the virus has been discovered, from that day till now, from 1910, so the discovery of the virus has started. The various process has started taking place about the discovery of this infectious organisms, that is a virus, and where to place, whether it has to be placed under the living or the non-living. When the virus is remain outside the living organism, then it will be under a state of dormancy. It will be under a state of rest. So its metabolism, its physiological activity will not occur. When it inside the living organism, when it goes inside the living organism, automatically it gets converted into a living. So when it is outside the living organism, it tends to be a non-living matter, and goes inside the living organism of host organism, then automatically it gets converted into a living nature. So it carries out various multiplication, proliferation, we are telling, no, the proliferation, metabolism, the growth, and it starts to gradually invade the internal organs, the blood, and ultimately it causes lots of opportunistic infections to the living organisms. Or immune system will get first it gets suppressed, first it gets compromised, and then it undergoes a state of suppression, then completely the ruin of the human being or the host organisms takes place. So the virus is very hazardous and dangerous. So bacteria, then viruses. There are fungal infections also there. The fungal infections. The fungal infections we are going to see in trichoderma, epidermophyton, then microsporum, which causes the ringworm. So lots of epidermal infections we are getting, or the skin, the cutaneous infections we are getting. So the fungal infections, viral infections, Then protozoal infections. Protozoan, Entamoeba histolytica, which we are going to study in our textbook. Entamoeba histolytica, which causes amoebic dysentery, or otherwise it is called as amoebiosis. So there are protozoal infections, Leishmania donovani, which causes African sleeping sickness. So there are lots of protozoans, and helminths are there. Helminthal infections, helminths also causes infections. Platyhelminthes and nematodes, Haskell helminthus we are telling, no? Platyhelminthes, Taenia solium, tapeworm causes Haskell helminthus. Ascariosis, the infection is called, which we are going to see, is Ascariosis. Ascaris lumbricoides causes that infections. Then elephantiasis or otherwise filariasis we are telling, which is caused by Wuchereria bancrofti or otherwise Wuchereria malayi causes that infection. Elephantiasis or otherwise we are calling it as filariasis. Okay, that is a clear what we are doing. So helminthus. Then parasites are also there. Parasites. So parasitic infections is also what is meant by a parasite. This parasite is also like a virus. It's very hazardous. So these parasitic organisms, ectoparasites we have and endoparasites we have. So these parasites, when it goes inside the host organism, it lives at the expense of the host organism. It takes the nourishment. First and the foremost thing is, it derives all the nourishments from the host organisms. It takes all the oxygen that is needed for its metabolism from the host organism, and it starts to grow. It starts to grow, it starts to multiply, it starts to invade the various organs inside the living host organism, and ultimately it causes the lethality to the living individual or the host organism. That is called as parasite. Parasite means living at the expense of others. At the expense of others. Here the organism lives at the expense of the host organism. Then we are calling it as a parasite. Then we are calling it as what? Parasitic infections. We are calling it as parasites. Okay. So these are various biological agents. Then the next one is causing diseases. Nutritional agents also one of the reasons for causing a disease. What are the nutritional disease? See, the diet should be of a balanced state. It should contain vitamins, minerals, fats, carbohydrates, proteins, even water at a right proportion. If any of the nutrient level is getting deprived, then it results in malnutrition. Say for example, if there is a deficiency of vitamins, there are lots of vitamin classification. Fat soluble, water soluble vitamins are there, vitamin A, B, C, D are there. So if say for example, if vitamin A is not there, vitamin A deficiency is there, then it results in night blindness. So it results in night blindness. Vitamin B, lots of classification. When vitamin B deficiency is there, then obviously it results in what? It results in beriberi. The infection or disease we are calling it as what? Beriberi. Vitamin C we know, bleeding of gums and results in scurvy and all those things we are telling for vitamin C. Vitamin D, rickets and osteomalacia we are telling, no? So rickets and osteomalacia, bowed legs, PGM chest, in the conditions for the infants, for the newborn babies, undernourishments, because of undernourishments or otherwise due to the malnutrition. Protein, kwashiorkor and marasmus, protein deficiency, amino acid scarcity, amino acid metabolism panna mudiyala, protein and amino acid synthesis panna mudiyala appdi sonna phenylketonuria, phenylalanine, இந்த மாதிரியான congenital infections we are dealing from parents to the offspring, congenital infections அப்படினு சொல்லக்கூடியது. So all these things are due to what? Malnutrition, even because of the accumulation of fats, accumulation of carbohydrate deprivation. The growth will not be there. The growth, gigantism, dwarfism, cretinism condition bone formations, the muscle formations will not be there. The skin will not be proper. It results in scaly. The fats are not there. Deprivation of the fatty acids in the body. So there are various infections, various diseases that is being caused due to the undernourishment. That is nutritional agents. Now chemical agents when you take, there are various chemical agents. Various chemical agents in the sense, say for example, you can take hormones. You can take an example, very best example, that is what we are calling it as hormones. So these hormones when you take, they are endogenous in nature. Endogenous. So chemically I can classify like this: endogenous. The other one is called as exogenous. Endogenous, which is present inside our body like hormones. Hormones are nothing but it is a chemical substance which helps in the coordination of the body, coordination between the brain and the various parts of the body, various organs of the body. So endogenous, and the other one we are calling as exogenous. Endogenous, which is present in the hormones. Say for example, thyroxine. The thyroxine level should be constant in the body. But thyroxine, excess secretion, under secretion, excess secretion, hyperthyroidism, under secretion, hypothyroidism. Again there is a problem. Hyperthyroidism also will cause lots of deformations inside the body. Similarly, hypothyroidism also causes lots of deformations inside the body. So that is endogenous. Exogenous, taking medicines of a whole without consulting a physician, taking drugs. So that is exogenous. So sometimes when we take a vaccination for 2 days, 3 days, there will be a fever, there will be some rashes in the body, allergic manifestations we are calling, allergic manifestations, and those things are called as exogenous. There is also a kind of a disease. Next one is physical agents. Physical agents we are telling. The physical agents like prolonged exposure to radiation, isn't it? X-rays, cosmic rays, ultraviolet radiations, and heat, higher temperature. It also results in a disease. Then mechanical agents, that is due to the accident, falling down somewhere. Then genetic agents from the ancestor to the progeny, from one generation to another generation. This is just because of mutation. Because of what? Mutation. Mutation taking place in gene or the chromosome. Chromosomal aberration we are calling. Chromosomal aberration. So chromosomal aberrations, mutation in the gene is responsible for the genetic transmission of the disease from the ancestor to the progeny. We are calling it as genetic agents. That is mutation taking place in gene and chromosomal aberrations. Chromosomal aberration we are calling aberration. Chromosomal aberration. Okay. So these are called as various agents of the disease. So definition for disease and agents of disease. Okay, so for disease or introduction I given. Then we will go for the various types of disease. We will see today the different types of diseases, and one by one we will study in the next class. I hope you can understand what I prepared for the board and what I got for you so far. Now, the various types of diseases we will see now. So we have bacterial disease. What is there in the book? What is there for you in the syllabus I am going to write now? So bacterial diseases. First we start with bacterial disease. The first bacterial disease is typhoid. Here we write causative organism also. Causative organism. Typhoid caused by Salmonella typhi and Paratyphi. So Salmonella typhi. The organism is Salmonella typhi. Then second one, what is there in your book is pneumonia. Pneumonia. The pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus organism is called as what? Streptococcus pneumoniae. Then Haemophilus influenzae also causes this pneumonia infections. So about these two organisms we have to study the bacterial diseases. Okay. Then what we have is the viral disease. The viral disease. Under viral disease only one is given. That is, say for example, you have common cold. You have what? Common cold. The common cold is what? Caused by rhinovirus or rhinovirus. Okay, then Next one, the fungal disease. So fungal disease. What is the fungal disease that we have is ringworm. Ringworm, the skin disease, epidermal disease infections. The ringworm is caused by various type of organisms like Mycosporum, then Epidermophyton, then third one is Mycosporum we have, then Trichophyton, Epidermophyton, Trichophyton. And even in viral disease, you can we have to study about the AIDS, which is caused by, let's say, human immunodeficiency virus, human immunovirus, so which is belong to family retrovirus. Belongs to retrovirus. So Trichophyton. This is about the fungal disease. Next to the fungal disease, what we have is the disease which is caused due to the worm or the helminths. Helminthus, isn't it? So the first one is ascariosis. This ascariosis is caused by roundworm, Ascaris latroboides. Okay, Ascaris latroboides. Ascaris latroboides. Okay, then second one is filariasis. Filariasis is caused by Escherichia bancrofti, or otherwise Escherichia malayi. Okay, so this is about helminthus. Next to the helminthus, what we have is protozoal infections. Is that due to the protozoals? It's due to here, shall I write here there? Only one. Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery, which is caused by Litica. Then again the malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium. Plasmodium, various species are there under the Plasmodium. They have Plasmodium vivax. Then we have Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium malariae. The difference between this falciparum is highly grateful. The Plasmodium falciparum is highly grateful because it affects the CNS. Directly it combines with the blood and reaches the CNS, central nervous system. It affects the central nervous system and it is very lethal, dreadful, lethal. Okay. Whereas other infections can be treated. Other infections can be very well treated. Other infections can be very well treated. It can be treated. And this malaria is a quaternary fever. So the symptoms, the fever, the shivering, the very chillness, everything will be there. Abdominal pain and loose stool. So all those things, the blood clots will be there and cough will be there. isn't it? Edema we are telling. Somewhere the skin lesions will be there. When there is an abscess or when there is a swelling, then obviously the outermost layer will get ruptured, the outermost layer will get tear off, and from there where the pus and the blood will be getting oozes of, which we are calling as edema. Okay? So that is an extreme condition due to the infection occurring inside the body, in the blood, when it is being contaminated with this organism. So when tertiary, viral sign bearing and ovarian calciferum, they are calling as tertiary fever. That in detail we will see the right side also. Okay. So if we study about each and every disease what I have given you in detail, then the disease and its types will be very clear. Okay. So what we have to study, if say for example, if I am going to study about the typhoid, that is salmonella typhi, then after particular typhoid, if I have to study, then what are the things that we have to keep it in mind and tell you. Like that you have to write in the examination also. First, the disease. Say for example, I am taking malaria. Causative organism. Next one is causative organism will be right. So if you know about the nature of the causative organism, so this about the causative organisms, you can write a detailed explanation about that organism. I think so. So causative organism. When you take this causative organism, that is malaria. Causative organism is Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, and Plasmodium malaria. So malaria. About this, what you can write about the organism? It is digestive in nature. These organisms are digestive. Additional information about the organism is digestive. What is meant by digestive? It needs two hosts. Intermediary host. It needs two hosts. What are the two hosts required for this Plasmodium? The two hosts are, one is mosquito, the other one is human being. The mosquito asexual process takes place. Sexual process takes place inside the mosquito, and in the human being asexual process. So it is digenetic in nature. And this malaria this Plasmodium will not cause any infection in the African people. It's a big story actually. Why? Because the African people are getting affected with the sickle cell anemia. See the RBC, erythrocytic cells when you take, this RBC should be circular and it should be biconcave in nature. Whereas in case of African people, those are getting affected with sickle cell, the blood will be getting like this, like sickle shape. So when it is sickle shape, it is very difficult for the Plasmodium, for the trophozoite or the sporozoite stage, the larval stage we are telling you, know. So sporozoite stage, under the sporozoite stage, only the infected larva, which we are calling the sporozoite, enters into our body through the mosquito. Till then, all other stages, the reproduction, sexual reproduction, everything will be happening inside the mosquito. Only when the sporozoite is getting formed, then the mosquito will start to inject the sporozoite inside the blood of the human being. Isn't it? So the sporozoite stage. After the sporozoite larva will goes towards the RBC, the red blood cells, whereas it cannot pierce into the RBC because it needs protein. Where the protein is present, the hemoglobin when you take, there is a globin part, isn't it? Heme is iron containing phosphate derivative and globin is a protein part. So it needs a protein. So it goes to the protein to take the nourishment, whereas it cannot do that. Why? Because it is a sickle shape. So when it derives, when it grows, when it invades other organisms through the blood only, it can affect, isn't it? So when it cannot pierce and goes inside the sickle cell anemia, then obviously it cannot transmit or it cannot invade the other parts of the body, other organs. So therefore, the organism cannot cause any infection. It will get completely devastated. It will be getting completely ruined. It will be getting completely depleted inside the living organism. Inside the human being, those are getting affected with sickle cell anemia. That is particularly in African countries. So these are certain detailed study of that particular organism. At least one or two study about the organism. Simply Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, we cannot say. About that organism, you have to say, for example, Entamoeba histolytica, amoebiosis. This Entamoeba histolytica, when you take this protozoa, when you take, it will be having a single pseudopodia. It has a very unique feature, that is single pseudopodia will be there. That single pseudopodia will help in the phagocytosis process. The single pseudopodia helps in phagocytosis process. What is meant by phagocytosis process? Whatever the substance is macromolecular in nature, any chemical substance, any food substance, or even a cell also, it does the engulfation, cell engulfation. So such a way it eats. It will not go and pierce, it will not damage. Can you understand? It just engulf. Even the stomach barriers will be there. Physiological barriers that they those which causes, which provides the immunity or the resistance to the body. Those barriers will not be getting engulfed. Natural immunity we are telling, anatomical barrier, physiological barrier, and all we are telling, that is a mucus layer. And the amoebiosis where mucus layers and all will be getting affected. It goes and feeds, it goes and engulfs. We are calling it as phagocytosis process. So that is a unique feature of amoebiosis. That is a unique feature of what? Amoebiosis. So each and every organism has got a unique feature. So that detail, even if you are going to write about the HIV, human immunoso, it is a circular virus and it is surrounded by a protein layer, not lipid layer. It is made up of what? It is surrounded by a protein, which we are calling it as a capsid, made up of protein subunits called as capsomeres. This is very important, and it is made up of single-stranded RNA. So that is why, since it is being surrounded by the capsid only, the layer or otherwise wall layer of that virus cannot be getting disrupted by any of the drugs. Retro drugs we are telling against the retrovirus. That azidothiometin, drug today, it cannot go and pierce and it cannot kill the virus because the protein coat is highly rigid. So the protein coat dilute drug is very much important. It's highly difficult in order to discover, in order to bring the drug into an amendment, in order to kill the particular layer or in order to dilute the protein layer. Okay, which we are calling as capsid layer, the protein layer. So about the organisms we have to write. Okay, then the mode of infection. Mode of infection. Amoebiosis, contaminated food, water. Here, when the water stagnation is there, the mosquitoes will breed. When the mosquitoes bites, then automatically, so the particular surrounding should be kept clean, the environment should be clean, the surrounding should be disease free, should be greenery, there should not be stagnation of water, the proper disposal of drainage system should be there, the garbage, the waste should be dumped properly, there should be a pit and it has to be cleaned every time, and the gardens and all has to be maintained properly. So all these things is essential factor, so that the mosquitoes will not breed, the mosquitoes will not grow, isn't it? Unless otherwise the mosquitoes will grow, it will breed and it will produce this plasmodium, the sporozoid stage, isn't it? So mode of infection, how it is getting transmitted, the mode of infection. Then we have to write about the symptoms. What are the symptoms? So each organisms will have a unique symptoms in our body. What are the symptoms? Symptoms are otherwise called as clinical manifestations. What are the clinical manifestations inside the body? How it can be diagnosed directly? When I am going to a doctor to a particular infection, I am talking to a doctor, telling to a doctor, that's doctor, I am having temperature only in the evening, I am getting shivering, and I am feeling chill, and all of a sudden I am having a cough, and I am unable to eat properly. So something is getting disturbing in the stomach. So disturbances, I could feel the disturbance in the stomach. There is an abdominal pain, constant pain I could feel, and it is getting repeated 2 days once, 3 days once, only in the evening. Morning I feel I am quite normal because there is no temperature and I don't feel the shivering also. But even when there is no fan, even I am having lots of blankets, woolen blankets, I am feeling the shivering, I am having the chillness, and I don't know what I have to do. So I am having a constant sweat in the body. So that the stool, the fecal content, when I see it, it's with the blood, and it is like a loose stool. So all these things, when we are telling the doctor will diagnose, will come to a conclusion. He cannot confirm, but he can come to a conclusion. Okay, he will be having a protozoal infection. The person will be subjected to the bacterial infection because of typhoid, because of protozoal infection. Something. So the symptoms are very important. The symptoms should be known. So what are the symptoms that we have to keep in mind? Next to the symptoms, what is the diagnostic step? Say for example, Salmonella typhi, viral test is there. Serological test, serum, blood serum level they will take for paratyphi, KB testing will be there. So viral test is for the serum, blood serum level. So that is why the serological test for enteric fever. It is a kind of, because it causes the temperature in the intestinal region, particularly in the intestinal region. Large in the colon, intestinal region, it causes the fever. The temperature, enteric fever, we call it as enteric fever. So the serological test will be there. That's what we are calling as a viral test, isn't it? So what is the diagnostic procedure? And what is the incubation period? Incubation period. So incubation period. Next, the prevention and control methods. What is the prevention and control methods? For each disease, we have to study all these things. So the disease, what are the causative organisms we have to keep it in mind? What is the mode of infection and symptoms, and a diagnostic procedure, infection and prevention and control methods. What are the prevention and control methods? That also we have to keep it in mind. That also we have to study. So these are about the disease, and the disease level particular symptoms. Subtopics we are telling now about the subtopics. So from next class I will start with one disease. So about one disease we will start, and then we will go ahead further. Okay. So today the 8th chapter, health and diseases. So we will recollect once. Health and diseases we are studying. Under the health and diseases we have to study about what are health diseases, types of diseases, immunity, types of immunity, and adolescence, that is addictions and drugs. About the drugs we have to study. So first I told you about what is mental health, isn't it? So combine the capacity of physical, social and mental well-being. So it increases the longevity and it decreases the infant and the mortality rate and disease-free condition that we are calling as health. And what about the diseases? Definition for the diseases. Diseases, any disturbance or anything that is being affecting the anatomy or physiology or the physical aspects of the human body, then we are calling it as a disease. There are various agents that causes the disease. Biological agents we have, chemical agents, nutritional agents, physical agents, mechanical agents and genetic agents. There are various agents that causes the disease. Next, what are the various diseases, types of diseases as per our syllabus? We have bacterial disease, we have viral disease, we have protozoal, we have fungal disease and we have cell disease. Bacterial diseases, I will give, there are two examples. One is typhoid, the other one is pneumonia, which is caused by Salmonella typhi. The other one pneumonia is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae and the Haemophilus influenza. Then viral disease, we have common cold, which is caused rhinovirus, and AIDS, which is caused by HIV, that is a retrovirus. Protozoal amoebiasis we have, that is Entomoeba expellitica. Malaria, it is caused by Plasmodium. The Plasmodium is of different species, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciparum, and the last one is Plasmodium malariae. Fungal disease we have ringworm. The ringworm is caused by Mycosporum, Epidermophyton and Trypophyton. Helminthus, Ascariasis and Filariasis. Ascariasis is caused by the roundworm, which is called as Ascarihelminthes, which belongs to the family, which belongs to the phylum Nematodes. Nematodes or this Ascarihelminthes. Next one is Filariasis, that is Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malayi. Okay, this you have to keep it in mind. About each disease, what are the subheadings? First, what is the disease? What is the causative organism? About that organism we have to write. Next, we have to study about. Next, we have to write about what the mode of infection, mode of transmission, mode of infection. What is clinical manifestation? What are the symptoms that we have to study? Next one is what? Then the incubation period. Then diagnostic procedure. What are the diagnostic procedure has to be carried out? How it can be diagnosed? And then incubation period, then prevention and control measures. What are the prevention and control measures needed in order to control or eradicate the infection? Can you understand? So till this we go through, and when coming for the next class we will start from one by one. So thank you very much.